मार्जिनल फिजिकल प्रोडक्टिविटी। पेमेंट जो होता है वो दो तरीके से सैलरी को आप या पेमेंट को वो करते हैं, या तो आप एमपीपी के पे देंगे, दैट इज मार्जिनल फिजिकल प्रोडक्टिविटी ऑफ अ लेबर, या बीएमपी पे देंगे, दैट इज वैल्यू ऑफ हिज मार्जिनल प्रोडक्टिविटी। In this case, they are giving it on the basis of marginal physical productivity. So the two-factor production, though labor factor production and labor and capital are paid according to their marginal physical production. Prices and wages are flexible. Prices and wages are flexible. This is another assumption. There is perpetual full employment of labor. There is a perpetual full employment of labor. And there is also full employment of the available stock of capital. So 7 assumptions, including one very important one, that the two-factor production are actually paid according to their MPP, marginal physical productivity, और इसको underline कर लीजिए, this is very important assumption. And of course there is a full employment of available stock of capital, that is जितना भी stock of capital available है वो पूरा fully utilized हो चुका है, there is a full employment. Next slide. Then there are 3 assumptions left. Labor and capital are substitutable for each other. A very important again assumption. 100% substitutable तो नहीं लिखा, perfectly substitutable भी नहीं लिखा है. Which is mentioned here that they are substitutable to each other. So in this case, what will be the person or the firm can do, that or the economy can do, that they can actually reduce proportion between them depending upon what the availability of these factors of production. So there is neutral technical progress. Neutral technical progress again implies that input जितना होगा उतना ही output, तो उतनी ही technology. There is a neutral technical progress, and of course the saving ratio is constant. So there are 10 assumptions on which the Solow model is based upon. All the assumptions points out to one thing and one thing only. That first the things that can actually impact, वो दोनों constant रखी गई हैं. एक saving ratio is constant. और एक चीज जो शुरू में बात हुई थी, इस constant returns to scale. So ये चीजें constant रखी गई हैं so that they do not hamper the picture which the Solow was trying to produce. Now, next slide. Given these assumptions, Solow shows in his model that with variable technical coefficient, there would be a tendency for capital-labor ratio to adjust itself through time in the direction of equilibrium ratio. If the initial ratio of capital to labor is more, capital and output would grow more slowly than labor force and vice versa. Solow's analysis is convergent to equilibrium path to start with any capital-labor ratio. We'll get into that. But what ये slide क्या रही है? Given these assumptions, जो ऊपर 10 है, Solow shows his model that with a variable technical coefficient, there would be a tendency for capital-labor ratio to adjust itself through time in the direction of the equilibrium ratio. So variable technical coefficient, with the help of variable technical coefficient, ये क्या होता है? What is a variable technical coefficient? यहीं पे उसका short note लिख लीजिए. What do you mean by the term variable technical coefficient? Basically, for that you have to understand what is the technical coefficient, so that you can write the definition. टेक्निकल कोएफिशिएंट को अंडरस्टैंड करने के लिए एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है जो अंडरस्टैंड करनी होती है, वो है सोलो रेजिडुअल और टोटल फैक्टर प्रोडक्टिविटी. टोटल फैक्टर प्रोडक्टिविटी और सोलो रेजिडुअल का बहुत ही इजी एक्सप्लेनेशन ये है दैट, और टीएफपी जिसे कहते हैं, easy explanation ये है that what happens when there is no increase in employment, there is no hiring going on, there is no investment also, but there is an increase in output. What causes this increase? So this was the dilemma in front of Solow when he was studying actually a picture of very early United States in the 20th century. It was around 1870s, from 1870s to 1930s. He studied the production pattern actually of USA, Solow. And what he found was that there was a very high unemployment rate. Still there was a growth going on and output was increasing. Now, from where this output was coming from? So total factor productivity की वजह से ये output था. और what does that mean? Total factor productivity और Solow residual का मीनिंग होता है वो चीज जो कि फैक्टर प्रोडक्शन में नहीं आती है पर फिर भी फैक्टर प्रोडक्शन बढ़ाती है. So it was not land, and there was no hiring of, that is very low hiring of labor, capital, and entrepreneur. Then what was increasing this growth? He came to the conclusion that this was basically because of the solo residual or increasing TFP, total factor productivity. This is the productivity inherited. This is the productivity that can be inculcated in the commodity. Let's say, for example. A person sitting in the railways could actually work, let's say, for 8 hours. But with the coming of the computer, his production has increased from 8 hours to 12 hours. Now, the 4 hours which he is giving extra is basically because of the work being easily done on the computer. So now they ask the simple question, who will you give the credit? This credit goes to the person who is actually, working, or is it the extra that has been added by the TFP, or the TFP coming from computer? So this is what solo residual is all about. So technical coefficient is easily explainable through a total factor productivity. Okay, so we will write a definition here of technical coefficient. Technical coefficient were defined as the input requirement. Technical coefficient was defined as the input requirement. Technical coefficient were defined as the input requirement, amounts of commodities, ब्रैकेट में लिखिएगा, as the input requirement, amount of commodities per unit of output, ब्रैकेट में लिखिएगा, for each commodity. So this is what technical coefficient all about. That is how much of the input is required to per unit or to produce per unit of output. So technical coefficient hota hai. Then this can be, of two types, variable as well as fixed. So let's talk about coefficient of variable. Yeah, technical coefficient, yeah, coefficient of variable. In order to determine the coefficient, okay, so how do you get that variable? इसमें लिखिएगा, the numerator of the first term shares and variable. The numerator of the first term shares and variable which can be divided. Which can be divided, shares and variable which can be divided. Subtract this expression with the coefficient. Well, this is the mathematical explanation of what coefficient of variable is all about. But in economics, it has a different connotation. As I said, technical coefficient is defined as the input requirement per unit of output. So it has a different connotation in technical coefficient. Right. Variable is when there is to understand technical coefficient, as I said, you need TFP. Now the variable में जितना vary करेगा input उतना ही coefficient vary करेगा. So if you are changing the proportion between a labor and a capital, so that is known as variable coefficient. अच्छा, एक चीज और है, like for example, the countries generally go for a factor used in a production. Generally, those factors in which they have a high concentration. Like for example, the countries like India, which have a high concentration of population, it is always advocated that we should go for a labor intensive techniques, not labor saving, labor intensive, and capital saving. But what happens? It's just opposite. We are actually going for capital, labor saving and capital enhancing technology. Because technology का मतलब ही capital है. हम जब technical coefficient या technology की बात कर रहे हैं, we are talking about capital. So, solo model, hence variable technical coefficient, there would be a tendency for capital labor ratio to adjust itself through time in the direction of equilibrium ratio. ये एक सेल्फ एडजस्टिंग मैकेनिज्म होता है. दिस इज व्हाट दे आर सेइंग कि वो फ्लेक्सिबल होता है और अगर आप उसको दैट इज अपने आप में टाइम देंगे देन इट विल एडजस्ट इटसेल्फ थ्रू टाइम इन द डायरेक्शन ऑफ इक्विलिब्रियम रेशियो. व्हाट कैपिटल लेबर रेशियो. तो आपके कभी कभी टेक्निक्स कैपिटल इंटेंसिव होंगी, कभी लेबर इंटेंसिव होंगी, कभी कैपिटल सेविंग होंगी, कभी लेबर सेविंग होंगी, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द टेक्निकल कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ द कंट्री. If the initial ratio of capital to labor is more, then the capital and output would grow more slowly than labor force. Solo analysis is convergent to equilibrium path, steady state to start with any capital labor ratio. So basically, it's a struggle between what to use to produce. Should we go for a capital, which is a high maintenance, high cost thing, but the output जो उससे निकलता है that is huge, or we should go for a labor saving. So that's the dilemma which the countries always face. Next slide. Okay, solo takes output as a whole, the only commodity in the economy. Its annual rate of production is designated as Y. So please write this equation. Its annual rate of production is designated as Y, which represents the real income of the community. Part of which is saved, part of it is consumed, and the rest is saved and invested. So real income of the commodity Y, and part of it is consumed, and the rest is saved. That which is saved is a constant S, and the rate of saving is SY into T, and K into T is the stock of capital. Thus, net investment is the rate of increase of this stock of capital, that is dk upon dt or k. So the basic identity is k is equal to sy. Please, ये पहली identity लिख लीजिए, k is equal to sy. As I said, k is a real capital, and whereas this is equal to saving is a proportion of income. ठीक है, तो बहुत सारी पॉसिबिलिटीज इसमें हो सकती हैं जो दोनों को मिक्स मैच करके प्रोपोर्शन चेंज करके हो सकता है. So since output is produced with capital and labor as it's written over here in the last, technological possibilities are represented by the production function. Production function, technological supply is a function of, as it's written over here, both capital and labor. Lekin the countries have to choose between either one of them. They cannot, go for both of them. Next slide. That was the second equation. That shows constant returns to scale, inserting equation 2 in 1. You take equation 2 and you insert it into 1. So k is equal to, with let's say s was a function of y. So s is a function of kl. In equation 3, L represents total employment. So देखिए change कैसे हो गया इसमें. S was a function of y, but in this case, S became the function of k and L. Since the population is growing exogenously, the labor force increases at a constant relative rate, and thus LT is equal to K, and so on and so forth. So population growth से directly related है Solos 1 का model. Population is growing exogenously, externally, the labor force increases at a constant relative and internally also. So ये इतना difference है population में और constant relative rate. चौथी वाली इक्वेशन लिख लीजिए, थर्ड वाली भी लिखिएगा, k is equal to s f kn and lt is equal to k. That is a labor multiplied by technology is equal to k, or technique, you can also call it technique. Next slide. All the four equations should be with you. If it's not, we can go back and then you can write down. Everybody has all the four equations? Everybody have all the four equations? Yes? नहीं है तो लिख लीजिए अभी भी. We can go back. Do you want to write down? Yes, girls. Do you have these 4 equations or not?
Yes, ma'am.
All the 4. Solo regards N as now. Why the importance of Solo? Solo regards N as Harrod's natural rate of growth. Okay, N as Harrod's natural rate of growth in the absence of technological change, and LT as the available supply of labor at the time. The right hand side of the equation shows the compound rate of growth of labor force from period 0 to period T. Simple बात है, the Solo regards N as a Harrod-Doman model, natural rate of growth in the absence of technological change, and LT as the available supply of labor at time T. So this right hand side of equation shows the compound rate of growth of labor force from period 0 to period T. Uh, Let me read one more, then I'll explain. Alternatively, equation 4 can be regarded as supply curve of labor. Very important sentence. Fourth वाली आपकी equation. Fourth वाली equation आपकी can also be called as labor supply curve, because L, that is the labor, is multiplied by T, that is technique or technology, which is actually combined. When these two combine, labor and technology combine, they said that that is equal to K. That is equal to K. Regarded as the supply curve of labor. So that's what they are saying कि ये कैसे है supply curve labor का, because जितनी technology और जितना capital अब ये determine कर रहा है that how much will be the supply. It says that the exponentially growing labor force is offered for employment completely in elastic inelastically. The labor supply curve is a vertical line which shifts. The labor supply curve is a vertical line which shifts to the right in terms as the labor force grows according to 4. Then the real wage rate adjusts so that all available labor is employed, and the marginal productivity equation determines the wage rate, which will actually rule. Next slide, I will explain this in the next slide. Next slide. Hmm. By inserting equation 4 and 3, Solo gives basic equation. Now mix किया उसने, inserting equation 4 and 3, this is what we will get. He regards this basic equation as determining that time path of capital accumulation. मतलब कि ये एक आपको एक path दे रहे हैं कि इस पे चलिए तो आप you will end up with large stock of capital. Okay, that must be followed if all available labor is to be fully employed. It provides the time profile of the community capital stock, which will fully employ the available labor. Once the time paths of capital stock and of the labor force are known, the corresponding time path of real output can be computed from the production function. So basic जो equation है determining the time path of capital accumulation, that must be followed if all available labor is to be fully employed. So capital accumulation का जो path है उनका उसको follow करिए. It provides the time profile of the community's capital stock, which will fully employ the available labor. So next slide. Okay, this is important. Possible growth patterns. पता कैसे चलता है? So in order to find out if there is always a capital accumulation path consistent with any rate of growth of the labor force towards steady state, Professor Solo introduces his fundamental equation as small r is equal to small s as a function of r1 minus nr. Please लिख लीजिए फिर variable clear कर देंगे. This is your sixth equation. If you have done it, please बता दीजिएगा. लिख लिया? Sixth equation. R is equal to SF R1 minus NR. The equation 6 itself states that the rate of a change of capital labor ratio is shown by R, small r, is the difference of two terms, one representing the increment of capital and the other increment of labor. So दो तरीके से ये represent हो रहा है. So that's what he's saying, that in this equation R is the ratio of capital labor. ठीक है, कितने capital कितने labor के proportion में combined होगी. That is K upon L. N is the relative rate of change of the labor force. That is K upon L. The function SFR1 represents output per worker as a function of capital per worker. In other words, it's a total product curve is varying amount of capital and employed with 1 unit of. So basically, Solow model is saying that R जो यहाँ पे clarify किया गया is a function of saving and R comma 1. So R is, as you can see, change of a capital labor ratio is the difference of two terms, one representing the increment of capital. SF और R1 जो है ये लिख लीजिए SF और R1 capital accumulation. SF R1, one representing the increment of capital and the other increment of labor. So SF R1 is talking about increment of capital and minus NR is talking about increment of labor. बल्कि NR लिखिएगा, minus NR नहीं. NR represents the increment of capital and the other increment of labor. NR. N वही है क्या, labor force or number of labor. Next slide. This is a possible growth outcome हो सकता है. Okay. इसको draw कर लीजिए, then I'll talk about it. Draw this. बन गया हो तो बता दीजिएगा. It's done. It's just two lines. Okay. इस लाइन का मतलब है, एक लाइन आप देखिए एनआर वाली जो अभी हम लेबर रेशियो की लाइन बता रहे थे आपसे, एनआर व्हिच द वेरिएबल हैज बीन क्लियर्ड इन द लास्ट स्लाइड. इफ यू कैन सी एनआर बता दिया गया है आपको, that other increment of labor, that is NR, middle में से जा रही है, that is 45 डिग्री से जा रही है, and it is dividing the diagram into two equal halves. दूसरी एक कर्व बना हुआ है जो आपका डाउनवर्ड स्लोपिंग है, पहले इंक्रीजिंग है, फिर कांस्टेंट है, फिर डिमिनिशिंग हो जाएगा आगे, इसमें दिखाया नहीं गया है. दैट इज SFR, R एंड I. अच्छा, इसको पीछे क्लियर किया गया है, R1 है वो, इसको पीछे क्लियर किया गया है. दैट द फंक्शन SFR1 रिप्रेजेंट्स आउटपुट पर वर्कर एज अ फंक्शन ऑफ कैपिटल पर वर्कर. सो इसका जो इक्विलिब्रियम है, जहां पे वो टेंजेंट है या बल्कि कट कर रही है एनआर लाइन को, वहां से परपेंडिकुलर ड्रॉप की गई है. इफ यू कैन सी R डैश. ठीक है, तो अब इसका जो एक्सप्लेनेशन, इसको लगा रहने दीजिएगा, इसका एक्सप्लेनेशन है द रे थ्रू द ओरिजिन इज द फंक्शन एनआर जो आपको दिख रहा है. द अदर कर्व रिप्रेजेंट्स द फंक्शन SFR1. इट इज सो ड्रॉन एज टू शो डिमिनिशिंग मार्जिनल प्रोडक्टिविटी ऑफ कैपिटल. At the point of intersection of the two curves, NR is equal to SFR1 and R is equal to 0, then R is equal to R. When R is equal to 0, the capital labor ratio is a constant, and the capital stock must expand at the time rate, at the same rate as the labor force. So the other curve which represents here is there are two curves, as I said, एक NR है और एक SFR1 है. Okay. जो R डैश है वो आप लिखना चाहें तो लिख सकते हैं. Once the capital labor ratio R dash, वैसे ये already slide में है, once the capital labor ratio R dash is established, it will be maintained and capital and labor will grow in proportion. Assuming constant returns to scale, real output will also grow at the same relative rate n, and output per head of labor force will be constant. At a rate at r, they will be the balanced growth equilibrium. So उसने ये कहा है कि कैपिटल लेबर रेशियो r डैश इज एस्टैब्लिश, एक बार एस्टैब्लिश कर लीजिए. मेंटेन कैसे होगा ये, यहाँ पे एस्टैब्लिश तो हो गया. मेंटेन, it will be maintained and capital and labor will grow in proportion. Assuming constant returns to scale, real output will also grow at the same relative level rate as n. क्योंकि वो constant returns to scale है, so output will also grow at the same relative rate n, and output per head of labor force will be constant. So this is the relation basically. That constant returns to scale, real output will also grow at the same relative rate n. इसको underline कर लीजिए. यही gist है slide की. Constant returns to scale work कैसे करेगा? Okay, you can change the slide. Next slide. ये explanation है इसका. Next slide. Next. Next. I want you to come on the next diagram. Next slide. Next. Next. This is what I'm talking about. अब इसको बना के देखिए, नीचे जिस डायग्राम जो पहला बनाया था उसके नीचे ये बनेगा, और इसमें डिफरेंस क्या है मुझे बताइए. What's the difference between this diagram and the previous one? Yes, girls. What's the difference between this one and the previous one? R1, R2, R3. Any difference you can see between the previous one and this diagram? No difference. Yes, girls.
Ma'am, in the previous diagram, the equilibrium, there was only one equilibrium point, but here we have three, R1, R2, and R3.
Three equilibrium point, or you can say that it is cutting from the 3 point. Actually, R1, R1 and R3 are the stable equilibrium position, because in this position, R1 and R3, I said, are the two stable equilibrium position, because in this position, NR is above R1 and R3. Check कर लीजिए. NR is above R1 and R3 in both the situation which I'm talking about. Because the total productivity curve SF R1 is above NR, but at R2 it is below NR. आप R2 को देखिए, कर्व नीचे है, जबकि R1 में देखिए कर्व ऊपर है, और इवन R3 में देखिए कर्व ऊपर. That's the difference. Of course, there are three equilibrium points. She's right. Therefore, R2, R1 और R3 दो सबसे stable हैं, क्योंकि NR is above them. But in case of R2, it is one of the most unstable equilibrium position. Depending on the initial observed capital labor ratio, the system will develop either to balance growth at capital labor ratio R1 or R3. R2 में नहीं, R1 or R3, because NR is greater than this. Next slide. Next. हाँ, यहाँ पे देखिएगा, in either case, labor supply, capital stock and real output will asymptomatically expand at the rate n, but around R1 there is a less capital than around R3. Hence, the level of output per head will be lower in the former case than in the latter. The relevant balance growth equilibrium is at R1. For an initial ratio anywhere between 0 and R2, it is at R3. For any initial ratio greater than R2. So, labor supply, capital stock and real output will be asymptomatically expand at rate n. So, ये अब allocation हुआ है rate n. R1 there is a less capital than around R3. So it's basically the availability of the capital per person that is what is deciding these 3 points. And if there is a larger availability of capital per person, then apparently every other variable will change here. As you must have understood, R1 and R3 are in equilibrium, whereas R2 is not in equilibrium. So the ratio R2 is itself in an equilibrium growth ratio, but an unstable one. Any accidental disturbance will be magnified over time. So, anything that can hamper the growth, anything that can hamper the macroeconomic variables. A second figure has been drawn so that production is possible without capital. Hence, the origin is not an equilibrium growth or configuration. मैंने आपसे पूछा तो difference क्या है? एक difference और है, जो previous one से अलग है. Previous one में दोनों, that is NR and SF, दोनों ही they were starting from the origin 0. If you can see, both of them. Whereas in this diagram, SFR1 is not, coming out or is not coming out of origin. इसका implication है. R1 and R2, as I said, are stable equilibrium position because of the total productivity curve. But this is not happening in the second one. So the ratio R2 is itself an equilibrating growth ratio, but an unstable one. Any accidental disturbances will be magnified over time. Cushion नहीं है इसलिए. And second figure has been drawn so that a production is possible without capital. Hence, the origin is not in equilibrium growth configuration. There is no capital, only NR. NR means labor. Solo points out that figure 2 does not exhaust all possibilities. He shows 2 more possibilities as shown in next figure. The ray NR depicts the equilibrium growth path where the warranted and natural rate of growth are equal. The curve S1. F dash R1, which is above NR, represents a highly productive system in which capital and income increases more rapidly than the labor force. So NR is important. NR को लिए बिना growth नहीं हो सकती. Labor force पता होनी चाहिए कैसे कितनी बढ़ रही है. Now I will ask you a couple of questions here. Do you know how much is the decadal growth rate of India in population? According to Census 2011, how much is the decadal growth rate of India? Any idea what is a decadal growth rate? उसी से आपकी लेबर फोर्स बढ़ेगी. जितना decadal growth rate कम होगा, उतनी ही लेबर फोर्स कंट्रोल में आएगी. So that is why the question: what is a decadal growth rate and how much is it? No idea. Okay, according to 2011 census, the decadal growth is 17.70%. Decadal मतलब 10 साल में हम कितना ग्रो कर रहे हैं? 17.70%. So this means that between 2001 to 2011, the population grew by 17.7% during 2011. This is the decadal growth rate. 10 साल में 17% और लोग ऐड हो जाएंगे, 17.7% ऑफ योर टोटल पॉपुलेशन। दैट्स अ ह्यूज नंबर। 17 पे मत जाइएगा, इट में look like it's very small, but that its addition will be in billions. So that's why the possibilities for the underdeveloped countries to actually to have NR and depicts the equilibrium growth path where the warranted and natural growth rate are equal is not an option. It doesn't happen that way in them. So in can I have a next diagram? Please draw this diagram which is in front of your screen. इसमें जो नया जोड़ा गया है, which you can see S1 and S2, two curves. मन चाहे तो बताइए। Is it done? Okay. Now I want a difference between this one and the previous one. What's the difference? What's the difference between this diagram and the previous one? Yes, what's the difference? There is no equilibrium point. That's what you're saying? That's what
Ma'am, there are two production possibility curves.
Thank you. Yes, that's the biggest difference. Two production, actually PPP production frontier कह लो, production possibility कह लो, चलो यही कह लेते हैं। दो production possibility कर्व है, एक NR के नीचे है और एक NR के ऊपर है। और जो NR के ऊपर है उसको हमने कहा है F डैश, और जो NR के नीचे है उसको देखिए F डबल डैश लिखा है। अब ये जो है यहाँ पे कहीं कोई चीज हुई है जिसने कि इस प्रोडक्शन पॉसिबिलिटी फ्रंटियर को ऊपर की तरफ शिफ्ट किया है। सिंपल बात है। अभी इतनी देर से जितनी भी बात हो रही है उसमें कहीं ना कहीं इस चेंज को लाने वाले कोई चीज रिस्पॉन्सिबल है। एनी आइडिया?
Ma'am, capital.
एक्चुअली वी कॉल इट अ टेक्नोलॉजी। यस, कैपिटल है, 80 एक्चुअली हम लोग कहते हैं इसको। ये प्रोडक्शन पॉसिबिलिटी फ्रंटियर जब शिफ्ट होता है या कर्व जब शिफ्ट होता है, प्रोडक्शन पॉसिबिलिटी कर्व जब शिफ्ट हो जाता है ऊपर की तरफ, तो ये हमेशा इट्स अ गुड न्यूज। अब वो किस कारण से शिफ्ट हुआ है यहाँ पे वो देखना पड़ेगा। इस केस में वो शिफ्ट हुआ है बिकॉज ऑफ द टेक्नोलॉजी। डेकेडल ग्रोथ रेट, जैसे कि अच्छा एक चीज और है यहाँ पे, आपने कहा जैसे अभी मैंने बताया डेकेडल ग्रोथ रेट 2001 से 11 के बीच में 17.70 थी। इसको मैं आपको एक चीज और बताती हूँ। डेकेडल ग्रोथ रेट, अब थोड़ा सा और पीछे जाइए और इसको देखते हैं। 2001, सो दैट मीन्स जो आपका 2001 से पहले का सेंसस कब हुआ होगा? डेकेडल है ना, तो 2001 से पहले का सेंसस कब हुआ होगा? ऑफ कोर्स 1991। और 1991 का डेकेडल ग्रोथ रेट है आपका just 1 second, give me 1 second। इससे पर कैपिटा अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ दो चीजें निकलती हैं एक्चुअली व्हाट वी नीड। पर कैपिटा अवेलेबिलिटी, पॉपुलेशन अगर कंट्रोल हो जाए तो डेकेडल ग्रोथ रेट या कंट्रोल हो जाए तो उससे हेल्प मिलती है। 91 और 2001 के बीच का डेकेडल ग्रोथ रेट था, बल्कि और पीछे चाहिए, 81 से 91 का था 23.86%, 81 से 91 का था 23.86%, जो कि 91 2001 में हुआ 21.34%, 2.52 परसेंटेज की डिक्रीज थी, 2.52 परसेंटेज पॉइंट की डिक्लाइन थी, और अब ये गिर के कितना है 17.70%। तो इसमें कहीं एक चीज दिख रही है, पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ रेट जो है वो आपके कंट्री की कम हो रही है, डेकेडल ग्रोथ रेट। तो उससे सोलो का मॉडल जो है वो, क्योंकि पॉपुलेशन एक वेरिएबल है उसमें, तो सोलो का मॉडल इससे यहाँ पे हेल्प ये मिलेगी इन ऑर्डर टू अंडरस्टैंड कि ये जो टेक्नोलॉजिकल चेंजेस आए इसकी वजह से प्रोडक्शन फंक्शन ऊपर की तरफ शिफ्ट हुआ। पर कैपिटा अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ कैपिटल, पर कैपिटा अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ कैपिटल भी बेटर होगा अगर पॉपुलेशन कम हो। लेकिन यहाँ पे वो क्या है, व्हाट कैन यू से, ऑब्स्टिकल। इस सिस्टम में एक ऑब्स्टिकल, ये सोलो का कॉन्सेप्ट में ऑब्स्टिकल क्या है, देखिए सिस्टम जो है वो परपेचुअल फुल एम्प्लॉयमेंट का सिस्टम है, जिसमें कि इनकम एंड सेविंग इंक्रीज सो मच दैट द कैपिटल लेबर रेशियो इंक्रीजेस लिमिटलेसली। ये एक हाइपोथेटिकल सिचुएशन इस सोलो ने बनाई, जिसमें इनकम और सेविंग इतनी ज्यादा इंक्रीज होती जा रही है कि कैपिटल लेबर रेशियो इंक्रीजेस लिमिटलेसली। ऑन द अदर हैंड, the curve which you can see over here, S2F double dash, depicts a highly unproductive system in which the full employment path leads to ever diminishing per capita income. However, aggregate income rises in a system because net investment is always positive and the labor supply is increasing. It is to be noted that both the system have diminishing marginal productivity throughout. So, एक system है जो full employment का है, perpetual full employment का है, और एक सिस्टम है जो आपका सेकेंड वाला हाईली अनप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम है। उन्होंने एफ डबल डैश वाले को हाईली अनप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम कहा है। ये इससे पहले वाली स्लाइड है आपकी, अगर इसके पहले वाली स्लाइड पे जाइए तो आपको ये दिखेगा व्हाट आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट, दिस वन। इसमें लिखा हुआ है, हाँ in the system देखिए लिखा हुआ, which is of perpetual full employment. Income and saving increase so much that the capital labor ratio increases limitlessly. On the other hand, S2F double dash, जो कि नीचे था उसके NR के, depicts a highly unproductive system in which the full employment path leads to ever diminishing per capita income. तो ऊपर वाला इसलिए better है as compared to the previous one. But basically that is basically because of the technological changes. Professor Solo concludes, अब last slide में आइए। Professor Solo concludes his model, thus when production takes place under the usual neoclassical condition of variable proportion and constant returns to scale, no simple opposition between natural and warranted rate of growth is possible. There may not be any knife edge. The system can adjust to any given rate of growth of the labor force and eventually approach a state of steady proportional expansion. Final equation of Solo model, delta K upon K, which is equal to delta L upon L, which is equal to delta Y upon Y. सरल लैंग्वेज में कहा जाए तो अगर सिस्टम को अपने सेल्फ एडजस्टिंग मैकेनिज्म पे छोड़ दिया जाए, नोबडी टचेस दैट, तो ये होगा जो सोलो मॉडल है। अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट वेरिएबल प्रोपोर्शन है, दोनों का प्रोपोर्शन आप चेंज कर सकते हैं, लेबर ले लीजिए, कैपिटल ले लीजिए, डिपेंड करता है आपकी कंट्री में क्या अवेलेबल है। लेकिन क्या है वो किस उस पर स्केल रखा गया है, कॉन्स्टेंट रिटर्न्स टू स्केल। तो होगा क्या कि प्रोडक्शन आपका उतना ही आएगा जितना आप इनपुट करेंगे। So no simple opposition between natural and warranted rate of growth is possible, and there is no knife edge. Knife edge कुछ नहीं। तो यहाँ पे इसलिए एक तरीके से सोलो मॉडल इज एक्चुअली अ क्रिटिसिज्म ऑफ हेरेडोमल मॉडल. In conclusion, you write बल्कि वर्सेस करके भी आप लिख सकते हैं. दोनों में मेन डिफरेंस क्या है, ये बहुत बार आता है, क्वेश्चन आता है पूरा. So the main difference between the Harrod-Domer model and the Solow model is that Harrod-Domer assumes constant marginal returns to capital. Constant marginal returns to capital. Constant marginal returns to capital. Whereas Solow assumes decreasing marginal returns to capital. Whereas Solow assumes decreasing marginal returns to capital. वो कांस्टेंट अज्यूम कर रहा है और ये डिक्रीजिंग अज्यूम कर रहा है. सो ये मेजर डिफरेंस है दोनों में. कांस्टेंट है और इसका जो मार्जिनल कैपिटल है दैट इज डिमिनिशिंग. किनीजियन मॉडल की बैकड्रॉप में जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था, हेरेड-डोमर मॉडल किनीजियन मॉडल की बैकड्रॉप पे बना हुआ है. शॉर्ट टर्म, इसीलिए मैंने कीन्स का फ्लो चार्ट दिया था. उसकी बैकड्रॉप पूरी किनीजियन है. और उसमें एम्प्लॉयमेंट और इनकम का एनालिसिस किया गया था कि कैसे इसको अचीव करें. जबकि सोलो फॉन मॉडल इज एक्चुअली, इसको अब लिख लीजिए आप थोड़ा सा. द सोलो फॉन मॉडल बीइंग एन एक्सोजीनियस मॉडल, एक्सोजीनियस वगैरह वर्ड्स को अंडरलाइन कर लीजिएगा, इसको लर्न कर लीजिए बिल्कुल एकदम. इसको भूलिए नहीं, ये कौन सा मॉडल है, कौन सा टर्म इसके साथ इस्तेमाल होता है. ये सब एमसीक्यूज हैं एक्चुअली. सोलो स्वान मॉडल इज एक्सोजीनियस, एंडोजीनियस, ये पूछा जाता है. इसी तरीके के एमसीक्यूज होते हैं. सो द सोलो स्वान मॉडल बीइंग एन एक्सोजीनियस ग्रोथ मॉडल is an extension to Harrod-Domer model. It is an extension to Harrod-Domer model. ठीक है. अब वो एक्सटेंशन में कुछ ऐड किया तो उसने एक्सटेंड किया, तो क्या ऐड हुआ था वो लिख लीजिए. The added variables in the Solow-Swan model included labor, which acted as a production factor. Labor, which ये ABC करके लिखिएगा. Labor, which acted as a production factor, and the rigidity of capital-labor ratio. Labor, which acted as a production factor. Labor को importance दिया था. And the rigidity of capital-labor ratio was also removed in this model. And the rigidity of capital-labor ratio was also removed. The Solow-Swan model had a short-term implication. It was not a long-term model, it was a short-term model. It had a short-term implication. The Solow-Swan model had a short-term implication that in short terms growth could be founded. That in short terms growth could be founded by referring the steady state. By referring the steady state. शॉर्ट टर्म में ग्रोथ हो सकती है बाय रेफरिंग द स्टेडी स्टेट दैट वाज नाउ. आई थिंक मैम इज आस्किंग यू गाइस टू जॉइन, सो आई विल जस्ट गिव यू वन मोर लाइन. दैट अ शॉर्ट टर्म implication that in short term growth could be found by referring the steady state that was now created by capital investment change. कैपिटल इन्वेस्टमेंट चेंज, इसमें बहुत सारे वेरिएबल्स हैं, इसको मैं कंटिन्यू कर दूंगी नेक्स्ट क्लास में. शी इज वेटिंग फॉर यू गाइस. सो कैपिटल इन्वेस्टमेंट चेंज, इसके 4-6 वेरिएबल्स हैं. सो आई विल डिस्कस दैट इन द न्यू क्लास. सो इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास. सो इम्प्लीकेशन इसका ये है कि ये एक एक्सटेंशन है हेरेड-डोमल मॉडल का. दैट्स व्हाट यू हैव टू रिमेंबर. ओके, आई एम एंडिंग दिस क्लास.